squishy, smelly gray bastards! This is important. For strength.
You're getting stung with your friends? Unbelievable!
The night before Halloween, a married couple is going to have a good night's sleep. Having turned off the light, they suddenly see the ominous message on the ceiling saying, "I am under the bed," which scares the pants off them. The husband even looks under the bed to see what kind of surprise their lazy son Anton has prepared for them. Although, it could have been rather strange since their offspring would not get his ass off the couch even if their cozy home goes up in flames. At this moment, they hear a suspicious noise from the ground floor, which troubles the woman. Feeling uneasy, the lady sends her husband downstairs to check it, which he does, armed with a flashlight. The woman is frightened by the cat climbing onto the bed. And at this instant, she hears her husband's screams from downstairs. All nervous, the woman goes to see what happened. She goes downstairs and sees that the candles in the pumpkins are still lit, although the husband said that he put them out. At this moment, the woman stumbles over a flashlight lying on the floor. She falls down, mucking her hands in something red. The woman rushes upstairs, screaming and calling out to her son for help, but the boy's sleeping tight in his room in the attic and doesn't hear anything. The poor soul has no choice but to run to her room and call the emergency service. But then someone plucks by the phone wire and it falls to the floor. A mysterious hand reaches out from under the bed, grabs the poor lady, and pulls her in, doing something terrible to her, like a butcher dressing a carcass. In the morning, their lazy son finally wakes up. With music in his ears, he goes down and is going to have some breakfast. Tough luck, there's no milk for him, and the spoiled brat immediately exhibits his displeasure, calling out for his mother.
Hey Mom, we're out of milk!
Looks like she's completely lapsed into idleness, and even the dog's bowl is empty.
Mom, we're out of dog food!
But Mommy's not answering. Whatever. Why not lie at the TV and enjoy the scent of the incense sticks? There's a news broadcast. The whole town is startled by 4 mysterious murders that took place in different areas and even in a restaurant, just as if some maniac got loose. The authorities even prohibited the teenagers to appear on the streets after 9 p.m. But this news is of little interest to Anton. He has something else to do, and besides, he likes to watch cartoons better. There's a problem, however. The guy suddenly runs out of his source of delight. He calls his buddy to arrange for a new batch of weed, but Pnub's not a delivery boy, so the stoner has to go pick it up himself. All upset, the guy takes to the street right with his unseemly looks and walks to the nearby house. For the likes of him, there's an exclusive entrance through a cellar window. A couple of his buddies are already having fun there, discussing the merits of their mothers. Here, Anton gets nothing but a wipeout.
So I came all the way over here, you said you was holding.
I didn't say what I was holding.
Things came to such a pitch that even his useless buddies are worried about the lack of purpose in his life. But our guy doesn't care about this at all, since watching TV is the best thing for him. Suddenly, the young man remembers that he hasn't seen his parents for a couple of days. His friends are even somewhat glad to hear this, and say that if his parents got dropped, they could now party at Anton's house. They surprise him by saying that there's been a killing spree in the town. At this time, they hear a motorcycle passing by the house. Anton rushes to the window, because it's his nice-looking neighbor Molly, the girl he's lusting after. His buddies tell him to ask the girl to the dance at the school's Halloween party, but he says such beauty is clearly not for him. Suddenly, Anton sees that the girl dropped her lyrics book. He's gotta bring it back to her, as it'll be a great excuse to make acquaintance. The main thing is not to forget to put on the pants. The first impression is the most important after all. His buddies got busy, and the googly-eyed Romeo leaves the basement the same way he came in. Having picked up the book, the boy looks at the glamorous lyrics inside, after which resolutely goes to the house of his lady love. She suddenly comes out, leaving the humble boy embarrassed and forcing him to give back the book and retire without being thanked. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a strange nun comes to the police station to absolve a prisoner. After having a look at the one with a withered arm, the nun immediately leaves saying that she missed it again. While walking to her van, the nun rips off her upper garments and turns into a hot beauty. She's obviously looking for something, making marks on the map. And it's all somehow connected to the murders. The inside of the van is covered in newspaper clippings about some dirty deeds. The lady clearly wants to get to the bottom of all this. After linking all the crime scenes with the lines, she sees a pentagram. Now she knows where to look. Having jumped behind the wheel, the girl rushes to the place. Meanwhile, Anton finally decides to go to the store since his stomach's empty. Heading back, he carelessly rides a shopping cart through the deserted street covered with smoke. Then he gets knocked down by a couple of cops. They recognize him as he goes to the same school they just graduated from. The cops hold a grudge against Anton because he and his friends had never invited them to smoke weed behind the school. That's why they conduct an illegal search.
Either you guys holding? What? Look, I'm desperate. I mean, I know you guys didn't get in the evidence room, so I was thinking you asshole.
You're trying to score from a cop?
Having not found anything, they decide to fine him for the discarded bag which they pulled out from his pocket themselves. After getting home, Anton is going to have some fun with nutmeg and oregano, just as his buddies advised him.
I hear if you combine nutmeg and oregano, you can get pretty wasted.
The mixture turned out to be pretty poisonous. After flushing his mouth with dish soap, the guy decided to have a bite and finally noticed some strange things happening in the house. Seeing that the knife he used is covered in blood made Anton almost choke over his sandwich, but then he sees his cat playing with an eyeball. It all looks like some butcher has gotten into his house. Anton takes his dog to guard him and goes to explore the house but sees a shadow behind the window. Terrified, he rushes up to his room and hides under the blanket together with the dog. Seeing the same message as his parents, the guy rushes out, stumbles over an umbrella, and knocks down mannequins with pumpkins, under which are his parents' bodies. Having run outside, he meets his buddies from the basement.
What's the matter, Chief? Bad shrooms?
Anton brings them into the house and shows his parents.
Whoa! Oh, man. Yeah. I love this video. I didn't think they could show it anymore. Yeah!
Hey, someone killed my parents.
That's the best part, dude.
At first, it seems to the guys that this is a joke and the old folks are just playing a Halloween hoax. But then they see it's not. Pnub starts punching Anton's father in the chest, calling it artificial respiration. Mick discovers evidence in the hand of Anton's mother, a piece of t-shirt that exactly fits the missing piece of Anton's clothing. It becomes clear that Anton himself is the maniac. They need to call the police, which Mick does.
Something wrong with my friend. I think he took some nutmeg or something.
But Anton is not like letting him talk and without thinking twice pierces his head with the shard of a bottle. Poor guy wasn't expecting this himself. His remaining friend tries to escape a similar fate but has no such luck. Anton's hand went amok and is chasing the guy. Poor Pnub wants to hide in the basement, but there is no way out from there. Anton breaks in, trying to explain that his hand doesn't obey him.
It's me, Pnub! I'm your buddy! I know who you are! I don't want to hurt you! Then don't!
In a few seconds, this problem is no more. There are no witnesses left. To live permanently fighting your own right hand turns out to be pretty difficult. Even the cat got in the heat of the moment. In search of the cat, Anton approaches Molly's house. The hand begins to ring at the girl's door. Struggling, Anton manages to get it off the bell.
Aren't you a little old for Ding Dong Ditch?
The girl invites him inside. There they have a pretty nice talk about her creative work. But right after she turns her back, the hand reaches for the knife. By a miracle, Anton manages to knock it out. Then the damn limb decided to go the other way and have a little fun by grabbing Molly's ass with all its might. Surprisingly, Molly appears to like it.
I never would have thought you'd have the balls to just grab me like that.
And the couple ends up in bed. Not wanting his hand to interfere, Anton ties it to the bed, impressing the girl even more. After fleshly pleasures, she asks the guy to leave as her parents came home. Molly also invites him to a Halloween party at school. Anton agrees and retreats through the window. To hide the evidence, Anton decides to bury the remains of his parents and friends in the backyard, saying goodbye with a touching speech. Then, Mick's voice comes from below, asking to dig him up. A moment later, the dead buddies climbed out of their graves and knocked Anton out with a shovel. After waking up in his bed, Anton thought it was just a nightmare. Having put on his headphones, he goes downstairs and sees his friends watching TV. He was going to tell them about his dream, but then noticed that they do not look alive somewhat. Friends apologize for hitting him with a shovel. Anton wanted to have a say about it, but his buddies reminded him that he actually killed them, so he has nothing to complain about. Anton's hand begins to make its presence felt again. He runs for help to the other buddy, Randy, who listens to the hard rock played by satanic bands, and Anton hopes he is an expert in satanic affairs. Randy tries to pick up a nice-looking girl at the memorial service for two twins, victims of the serial killer, which is Anton's hand. Randy's mad at the guy for interrupting when he's picking up a girl.
I can't believe you blocked me like that. I thought we were buds.
Randy, wait!
The limb got completely freaked out. Anton breaks into a diner where Randy's heading. He runs to the collection point and tries to inquire Randy what happened to his hand. Randy tells him that Satan gives idlers crazy hands, which is why he always keeps his hands busy. Having heard that, Anton decided to go knitting. The cops arrive at his house to investigate a noise complaint. Looking through the window, they realize that Anton killed his friends. Cops decide to detain the guy themselves, without calling for reinforcements, so that they can get all the credit. They get scared by Pnub's head speaking to them, and one of the cops shoots it. Anton tells the cops that he doesn't want to kill people anymore, and asks to handcuff him. The cop pulls out the handcuffs, but Anton stabs the needle in his ear. Then he takes the taser and fries the other cop. Unfortunately, knitting doesn't seem to help, so Anton decides to cut his hand off. He can't manage to do it, so he takes a giant cleaver, but his frenzied hand has other plans, and it doesn't let Anton cut itself. Fortunately, the friend's head helps him with this. To stop the blood, Mick burns the wound with an iron. When his buddies went for the antiseptic to Pnub's place, the hand left Anton a message about his mistake. Meanwhile, Molly, dressed as an angel, comes to take him to the party. The guy asks her to wait outside since he doesn't want her to see all the mess. The rogue hand is having fun, and doesn't seem to like its former host anymore. Having fought it off somehow, he puts the hand in the microwave oven and turns it on at full power. Finally, Anton gets out to greet Molly. He says that he plays a cook who cut off his own hand. It's time to go to the party. After a while, his buddies come back with antiseptic and bandages. Mick sticks Pnub's head on the grill fork and puts it into his body to fix the head on the shoulders. Afterward, they open the microwave to heat the burrito and release the fried hand, which jumps out of the window in a flash. Anton apologizes to Molly for not going to the dance with her. He says he needs to clean the house before his parents come. After returning home, Anton scolds his friends for letting the hand go.
Where did it go?
What? You mean the hand?
Of course I mean the hand.
Try looking up your ass.
He goes looking for it while the hand strolls about the town freely. Luckily, the nun is here. She walks into a bowling club looking for a man with a cursed hand. There, Randy approaches her.
So what brings you to bowling?
You don't want to know.
No, seriously. I'm interested.
The girl tells him that she is a druidic priestess who came to fight the evil force that possesses the hand of the laziest bummer it can find, and she has found a way to stop it. That's where Randy remembers Anton's complaints, and he tells the priestess about it. They immediately go to the guy's place. The hand leaves Anton a message on the fence, saying that it's about to get Molly. It looks like it's time for the three buddies to go to the party to save the girl. The priestess arrives just in time. Randy sees them running to his Ford and asks the priestess not to let them steal his car. When the guys drive to the party in Randy's car, they hit the priestess without even noticing that. But after a bit of smelly artificial respiration by Randy, she's back in service.
Got the barf breath.
Meanwhile, the hand, which doesn't even think to quiet down, stumbles across a couple of lovers in a car and shows them who rules the town by killing them both when they were doing the foreplay. Heading to the party, the guys discover bodies in the car in the parking lot. At this time, Molly kicks off the fun on the dance floor, enjoying the performance of the Offspring band and having no idea about the danger. One of the girls admires the makeup of the guys and invites them to dance. Pnub gladly agrees. Meanwhile, the hand sneaks into the office of the principal, who is calling a sex hotline. It gets into his pants and stifles his tiny wiener. Afterward, the hand makes itself a great manicure using the pencil sharpener. Priestess and Randy are at the scene. Having finally found Anton, she promises to help, then takes out a ritual blade and tries to kill him. Luckily, they timely discover that the guy cut his hand off. If it gets to Molly, she's going to hell at midnight. They only have 6 minutes left to rescue her. Anton climbs to the stage, takes the microphone from Dexter, and yells for everybody to run, because there's a psycho killer there. But who would believe him on Halloween? Dexter takes the microphone back and wants to resume the fun, but the hand gets his scalp. The panic starts. Molly and her gal try to escape through the vent shaft, but the hand knows what to do and goes after the girls. The fan blocks their path and they're trapped, but Molly uses her slipper to stop this infernal machine and goes down. Her friend can't move in panic, so the hand throws a noose around her neck and pushes her down. Then the hand takes the shoe out of the fan and it pulls the girl in, turning her into minced meat. The guys come to help the girls, but they are late.
You're really not gonna get me.
It's just unfair.
Well, you can go back if you want to get a piece.
Anton is looking for Molly when he is attacked by the hand disguised as a clown. He almost managed to fight it off, but his friends fell on him at the most inappropriate moment. Meanwhile, the possessed limb did finally succeed and captured poor Molly, with the intent to crush her flat against the ceiling with a car and a lift. The guys together can't overwhelm the hand that's pushing the lever. Mick finds a bong made of welded mufflers.
This is important. For strength.
They light it up and Anton blows the smoke into the hand. The hand gets high and the guys rejoice at their victory. But then the restless limb wakes up again and attacks Anton. At this moment, the priestess runs into the garage and throws her dagger. The hand gets hit and just disappears.
Time for the ritualistic sex. You coming?
Molly and Anton kiss, but their friends accidentally press the lever and the car falls on Anton. The gates to heaven open and friends go to the light. They're calling Anton to join them, but he decides to stay on Earth with Molly. His friends come to see him in the hospital, saying that they have been assigned to him as his guardian angels so that he will not be idle anymore. They leave, and Anton sees a message on the ceiling saying, "I'm under the bed." In a panic, he calls his friends for help, but they're pleased with their prank and just notice that he's screaming like a girl.
Hey, you're right. Anton screams like a girl. Think we should tell him we painted that on the ceiling?
Hey, let's go walk through a nurse.
Watch it. Some of them are guys.
Well guys, this was my recap of the movie Idle Hands.